So, I have a stalker. He has so many people convinced that it's not true. He doesn't do it. He yells at me, harasses me, he messes with my stuff. But nobody believes me because they believe him. Because he's a prominent member of society who says he's vindicated, he's justified on the things that he's done. He has hurt so many people all of the time. And what really sucks is when you call law enforcement for help and somebody sends them away, or they tell him she's a nutcase, she doesn't know what she's talking about, when I didn't even call the cops, somebody else did. And then you get accused of something you didn't do. A bunch of stuff. People run up street credit in your name. They call you names behind your back. I can stand out on my front porch and get called all kinds of filthy names. And I can turn around and call this person out who's doing it, but he won't come out of his hidey hole. He will not come out of hiding. He does nothing but run his mouth and say, "It is what I said and that is final," to everybody. He's got other people helping him. I have no clue who most of them are. And if I did, I wouldn't name names, and I'm not going to name names now. But I do know who he is. You see, I made the mistake of speaking out of turn to his child, who was an adult, who asked me a couple of questions, so I answered them honestly and truthfully. And I've had problems with him ever since. But I've been to where he's from when I was 16. And I'm betting that was probably the first time he laid eyes on me, because he was still living there at the time. So, he's done some horrible things, not just to me, but to other people. And he gets away with it because all he has to do is say, "Hey, I know this about this person and that person. Let it go, and I'll give it to you." And they do. And on the streets, as long as you've got a second or a third person to back you up, they believe everything that comes out of his mouth. So, it really freaking sucks, because he hasn't just thrown me under the bus, but he's thrown a whole bunch of people. An entire neighborhood. An entire family. And yet all he cares about is himself. So at this point, I fight to stay alive. Sometimes it's what it feels like. Because he's a two-bit loser, and he gets off on hurting people. And nobody gives a shit. They all care about themselves and what they can do for themselves to keep him away from them. But I don't know. He's a loser. But yet everybody believes him. He told everybody I was worth millions, because I have family that may have inherited a dairy farm back in the 50s or 60s. And might have even been before that. It was my great-grandmother. I mean, sorry, but that does not make it me. I was in a car accident when I was 21 with my brother, and I got a $14,500 settlement, and he now says that I am worth millions, and I refuse to give it up. He's even said that I stole $200,000 from somebody, which, if I had $200,000, I wouldn't be living in this apartment that I live in. I'd be living in a house. I'd have a new car. I'm thankful for the one I've got. But, and those that do, their hands are tied. They can't do a whole lot, or they refuse to do so. This man has done so many heinous things. Somebody cuts him off in the road, he goes after the dude's wife. Cuts him off at the grocery store, he goes after the dude's wife. And that is what he does. Or he gets mad at somebody who doesn't give him his way, and he has them deported because they're from Mexico. That's not right. He pays people to as little as $20 to get the required effect. This has been going on nonstop, 24/7 for 2 years now. Before it was intermittent. But he has said so much crap and so many lies about me, my family, and my friends that it's got them in trouble now too. And he says it's all because I talked to his daughter. Okay, so I told her to put herself first. That she was important. She was more important than anybody else. She had to come first. Is there anything wrong with that? I don't think so. But apparently he does. I've been to court with people. Never testified against anybody. Never put anybody in jail. But yet I get accused of it all the time. It is what he said. If I said that she did it, that means she did it. How he got the videos of me in a courtroom, sitting next to a friend, of me with my own stuff. I have 2 truancy tickets and a dog at large for a female dog named Leela. So I didn't show up to court because I lost the paperwork and I forgot about it. So I called and they dropped the fine down. So I had a misdemeanor for that. And I have 2 misdemeanors for my kids not attending school. And I went in front of the judge several times. I've even taken my best friend to court and sat with her. Correct. I've never sat on a stand and testified against anybody. Would I? Yeah. But I never got subpoenaed for anything. I never went in front of a judge for anything. But here I sit 24/7, nonstop harassment. It comes from outside all the time. They hang out and he's got so much crap going on that half the time you don't know whether you're coming or going. He's got so many people involved. He's even tried telling people that he bleached my DNA so I am not related to myself, which is just downright pathetic if you ask me. But it is what it is. And I want to move, but there isn't much out there in my price range, so I'm stuck where I'm at. And at the same time, only a few people, a handful of people, believe me. And not one of them is related to me.